All right, this comes from a comment, the worst day ever since I've been sober. It's a common thing to happen, especially in the early days. And, you know, just because you're going to get sober, it doesn't mean to say that you're not going to have bad days, you know. It's life in general. Everyone has good days and bad days. Look, this is my first day out walking for a couple of weeks. That's why I've been doing the videos inside in the van. I did my hip in. With all the things, a yoga injury. I was stretching out and I overstretched it, and couldn't walk for a couple of weeks. And the only reason I'm doing yoga in the first place is to get more supple and to make sure that I don't get these types of injuries. But there you go. That's life, eh? You know, sobriety really isn't a cure-all, right? Stop the flow, do the work, move on. You know, the old skin sometimes all the time has to be shed before the new one can come. And that's where the work comes in. Shedding that old skin, getting rid of the old shit that's holding you back, the old behaviors, the old habits, the old thinking, the old actions, and move on. You know, the worst day sober, my worst day sober, and I've had a couple of bad days sober. It doesn't compare with anything, with any day when I was drinking. You know, I had some poxy, horrible days, but it was a consistent feeling. It was a consistent, complete, deep insecurity that I had over myself, complete inner conflict that was there from every day that I did it to myself. Just an inner conflict, a horrible feeling about myself, my actions, about, you know, your self-confidence is dropping, your belief in yourself and your own abilities, that starts to drop. What are you left with then? You know, at least when you start getting sober and you start to turn the ship around, it takes a while, because, you know, it's your life once you stop drinking. Every effort that you put into changing yourself is worth the effort, right? And stopping drinking alcohol at least lifts that conflict. You know, that part of you wants to stop drinking alcohol. Part of you knows the shit that you're doing to yourself when you're drinking alcohol. The other part of you wants to carry on drinking, carry on with the juvenile thinking, the baby thinking, you know, with the instant gratification. I need to do this now, I'll put it off and I'll do it tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. You know, sometimes the best you can do is just to get through the day as best you can, to just push yourself through the day as best you can. That's the best that you can do. You know, if you need to curl up in a ball and go to sleep, do that, you know. Sometimes that's the best you can do. But sometimes, with a bit of effort, you can turn a bad day into a good day. Right? You know, one of the tricks that I use is just to start thinking about the things that I'm grateful for. You know, and there's so many different things that I'm grateful for. 10 years sobriety. Like I've said in other videos, the biggest regret that you'll have once you stop drinking alcohol and you realize your capacity and how much your potential is opening up right now because you've stopped drinking alcohol, because you don't have this in your life anymore. The biggest regret you'll have is that you didn't do it sooner, right? But there has to be a gratitude to the fact that you did it. And I always look back at that person 10 years ago who took that decision and who went through the pain, went through the discomfort in order to get me where I am now, right? I'm grateful for my son that he stopped drinking alcohol. I'm just grateful for my son in general. I'm grateful for Esther and what she does in my life and what she brings. I'm grateful for my life and the life that I've built now, you know. It hasn't happened overnight, but it's a gradual, slow process and a lot of mistakes on the way. A lot of mistakes. But yeah, all those mistakes lead into a good place, I think, you know. There's also taking action, just getting up and doing something, you know, getting up off your arse and saying, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to do that. There's also a huge benefit in getting up and doing something and changing your environment. When you change your environment, often you change the thoughts that are going on in your head. Sometimes those bad days are not in the fact that you're having a bad day, but in the fact that that's the way you're thinking, that the stories you're telling yourself are pushing you in that direction, right? So oftentimes it's good to just change your environment, get out into nature. Look at this. You know, there must be a place around you where you are. If you haven't got this, you know, walk on the streets. I was over in the States a few years ago. I suppose the busiest city in the world. Well, probably not. Mad city, New York. And even there, you just see so many different things. You observe, you know, watching the world go by, watching people go by. People watching itself is enough to distract sometimes away from what you should do. Get out into nature. And one of my favorite things to do is to watch one of my favorite comedians, Ricky Gervais, or Bill Burr is a funny one at the moment. There's a few that I'll watch, and just snippets is enough, you know. When I watch a couple of their shows or a couple of their, go onto YouTube and find some funny stuff to watch. And generally it's a combination of all the things, you know. Get out for a walk. If you're not feeling it, stick on a podcast and listen to that, you know. Stick on YouTube and listen to that when you're walking. Listen to some comedy. But I think it's all about changing your mindsets, changing the way that you think about things. But at the end of the day, it's remembering that sobriety isn't a cure-all, you know. You've got to stop the flow and then you get into sobriety. And the beginning of sobriety is all about coping with it, coping with whatever feelings come up, whatever thoughts come up, whatever discomfort you feel. And doing it anyway. You know, do the work, and the work is your life. That's what you need to do after this, you know, and it's gradually making those changes, making the changes in your behavior, in your thoughts, in your actions, slow but sure, making lots of mistakes, having those shitty days, but going on and doing them anyway, because the amount of good days that you'll have will increase and multiply as you're moving along on this journey. So listen, take care of yourself. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Watch this video next. Take care of yourself. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.